Welcome back to the channel, yo. Trump just dropped a massive policy bombshell at a campaign event in Pennsylvania. Is it Pennsylvania? Yes, Pennsylvania. So, while speaking to the workers at a Mack Truckers facility, Trump spotted the president of the NRA in the crowd and made a surprise declaration. Yes, he announced that his administration is actively working on a federal law to establish nationwide permitless gun carry across all 50 states of America. Yes, all 50 states, bro. I can't even wrap my head around this. But if you enjoy political breakdowns that skip the mainstream media talking points and give you an unfiltered international perspective, hit the subscribe button right now, because I'll be dropping more of these news and political breakdowns, slightly educational videos in the future, so stay tuned for that. Also, we are about to get this channel monetized, and I'll be launching a membership program soon on the channel, so stay tuned for that as well. Now let's get into what this policy actually means. To understand this, right, we have to look at a concept Americans call constitutional carry, right, or permitless carry. Essentially, it means that if you are legally allowed to own a handgun, you have the right to hide it under your jacket and carry it in public without needing government permit, training, or paying a fee. That's according to my own understanding. You can correct me in the comments. I dare you. You can correct me in the comments if you dare. Right now, 29 states already allow this, but if you live in a permitless state like Texas and drive across the border into a strict state like New York with your hidden handgun, you are instantly committing a felony. So Trump is throwing this weight behind a bill introduced by Senator Mike Lee called the National Constitutional Carry Act. This federal law would completely override state boundaries, forcing strict states like New York or California to allow permitless hidden weapons on their streets. Now, as a South African, like I mentioned before in the channel, yes, I am South African if you haven't noticed, the concept sounds a little foreign, and I say a little. In South Africa, gun ownership isn't a right. It's more of a heavily audited privilege, right? Under the Firearms Control Act, something we have in this country. Apparently, we have to pass written legal exams, practical shooting exams or shooting tests, undergo months of police background checks, and have our home safes physically inspected by a cop before we can even touch a firearm. You know what I'm saying? Before we can even start pow pow. Now, let me be clear on something. Listen to me carefully. People around here carry guns anyway. That's a fucking hadida, bro. No permit whatsoever, so it doesn't change shit. However, to us, the law-abiding South African citizens, the idea of carrying a hidden lethal weapon in public with zero training is kind of mind-boggling, to say the least. But in America, the debate is entirely different, and I get it, I understand it. Now, there are two massive engines driving this political push right now, right? First, the pro-gun philosophy. So, for American conservatives and gun rights groups, right, the Second Amendment says the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. They believe that a law-abiding citizen shouldn't have to beg the government for a permission slip or pay a tax to exercise a constitutional right. They argue that criminals don't wait for permits anyway, just like in SA. So stripping away carry restrictions allows good guys with guns to defend themselves instantly, which is crazy if you ask me. Now, the political timing. Trump is solidifying his base. Gun owners and the National Rifle Association, NRA, are some of the most organized high turnout voters in the country. By making this surprise announcement in Pennsylvania, a critical swing state, Trump is sending a loud signal to millions of Second Amendment voters that he is their ultimate defender against strict local gun control. So the obvious winners here are everyday American gun owners living in or traveling through the strict states, right? So if this bill passes, a truck driver can travel from state to state without worrying about ending up in jail or in a state prison over a paperwork mistake. Politically, Donald Trump and the Republican Party benefit heavily by generating massive enthusiasm ahead of elections. They're also having elections. We're also having elections this side as well, I think. And we as a South African youth are still wondering who we're actually going to vote for, but this isn't about us. Let's continue, right? There's a hidden loser as well, though. Local state autonomy. If a federal law forces nationwide carry, it strips local mayors and police chiefs in high crime, densely populated cities of their power to regulate weapons in their own streets. For them, a law designed for a place like Utah is being forced onto the subways of New York City. Now, for this whole thing to become a reality, Senator Mike Lee's National Constitutional Carry Act actually has to pass through the US Congress. even if Trump fully backs it, right, the bill faces a steep uphill battle in the Senate, where Democrats will almost certainly use legislative maneuvers like the filibuster to block it. You know what I'm talking about? And even if it somehow passes, you know what I'm saying? The moment Trump signs it into law, strict states like California and New York could immediately sue the federal government, sending this straight to the US Supreme Court for a historic showdown over states' rights. Oh my goodness. I'll be definitely paying attention to this one. Hey, I don't even know why. It just seems so fascinating, right? The biggest misconception, though, on the internet right now is that this law would create a total free-for-all where everyone and anyone, including criminals, can walk around armed with a Glock or something. I don't even know. I really need to study my guns. But this is obviously false, right? The text of the bill explicitly states that if you are already prohibited from owning a gun under federal law, such as convicted felons, domestic abusers, or those deemed mentally unfit, which is very common in the US, you are still completely banned from carrying a weapon. You know what I mean? It also preserves private property rights, meaning business owners can still ban guns in their stores, and it keeps weapons out of secured areas like airports and government buildings. It doesn't arm criminals, it simply unlocks the restrictions on the people who are already legally buying the guns. So, America, are you ready for a country where state lines don't dictate your self-defense rights? Or does a national free-for-all make you kind of nervous? I don't know. Drop your comments down below. I want to hear what you all think. I want to actually see how split you guys are on this. It's very interesting.